You're here. Welcome to the Masterminding Success podcast. They say if you want to be successful in business and in life, then surround yourself with successful people. So pull up a seat. The mastermind is about to begin.
Hey, glad you could join us for another episode of the Masterminding Success podcast. We're your hosts, Keith Wheeler
and Nuria Corby.
And what are we talking about today, Nuria?
Today we're going to talk about changes that we wish KDP would make. I'm sure we've got a few on our mind. What do you think about that?
This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I can think of quite a few changes that I would like them to make.
Yeah. It's just a matter, and these are in no particular order. And again, we didn't prepare for this, so these are kind of just like off the cuff. I'm sure there'll be things that we would like them to make that we haven't thought of. So obviously, if you think of something that we don't talk about today, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, put it down in the comments. Otherwise, you can email us if you have any ideas on some things that you wish KDP would change. I know one of the big ones, and I've probably talked about this before on other episodes, but I do more than just Amazon KDP. I do Amazon merch. And one of the big things that Amazon merch does is if a product is up there for 365 days from when it was launched and doesn't have a sale, they take it down. I wish KDP would do that, because especially, when the whole boom came with, all these systems coming out where you can bulk upload journals and all this other stuff, and people were just putting up hot garbage just because it was the thing to do, and people were teaching that. Those would all come down, which would make things easier and make our books more discoverable. And it would help the Amazon customer, because they would get less garbage. They would see things when they do a search, they would see things that are actually good quality. So I think it would benefit Amazon. One, it would benefit from a server level. If you want to get technical, on a server level, there's less data up there. It would help the customer, because there's a better chance that they're going to see exactly what they want, on that first page. And it would help us, because in theory, we would have less competition in almost every single genre that we could possibly be in. And even running ads could be cheaper, because again, you have less competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that is definitely a really important one, that if they implemented that, it would do absolutely what you just said. It would cut out all the rubbish, and that's a good thing. That's a win-win for Amazon and for us as well. My top of the list thing that I wish they would change is similar to yours, because yours kind of refers more to low content books than fiction or non-fiction, and mine does too. And mine is that I wish that Amazon KDP would have a category for stationery, and all the low content books would go in that category, rather than notebooks with a dog on the cover going into dog behavior books or something like that, which is completely wrong. So for me, that is one thing that I've been saying for a long time, that where we place our low content books is not really the right place for them. I think those categories are for non-fiction, for fiction, but not for low content books. And unfortunately, there's no other way to categorize them unless we put them in is it non-classifiable or something like that now? Yeah. Which is what I've been doing for some, because I just don't think it's fair to put them in the other category. So that is on my top list.
And if you think, and again, I'm a programmer at heart, and so from a programming standpoint, it shouldn't be that difficult, because Amazon already has a stationary field. It already has that category if you go onto Amazon as a whole, and KDP already has that box that you can check that it's low content. So it really should just be as simple as, if this is checked, put it here, or just, again, make it an option in the categories that are there.
Absolutely.
So and I think that just these two that we just came up with would clear up so many books and so much just clutter on the Amazon books section of Amazon, you know,
Absolutely.
and again, without even any of the other things that we might come up with. Uh, I will say, you know, you'd mentioned that what I mind as far as having something be up there for 365 days without any sales, that's mainly for no content books, but even for written books, you know, if I put out a an epic novel and I publish it and a year from now it hasn't sold even one copy, then it should come down because there must be something wrong. But also it kind of makes me as an author, as I start getting closer to that 365 days, if I don't want that to come down, I need to do something. I need to promote it. I need to, do something about it. And again, it doesn't delete it from your KDP dashboard, just like on Amazon merch, it doesn't delete it from my merch dashboard. It just pulls it down and I can't re-upload. I'd have to create another account, or not another account, but I'd have to create another product and basically copy everything over. But again, if it didn't sell in the first year, then it's probably not going to sell again unless you
No.
do something different.
Yeah.
And just like getting negative reviews, something like that would benefit you as a creator to say, okay, something isn't right with these. And after a while, if you start seeing that happening to more and more of your books, you can kind of see a trend. You know, what am I doing wrong on all of these that aren't selling?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've got books from when I first started that I probably should take down. I just haven't taken the time to do it. But if Amazon did it automatically for me, or KDP did it automatically for me, that would, again, it would benefit me as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, I would be all for that because unlike you, I did actually go in and unpublish some of my books because I was just getting fed up of seeing them there. And I know
Yeah.
they weren't great because they were the books that I made right at the beginning.
Right.
And I thought, I can't keep looking at these. I have to take them down. And how much better would it be if Amazon just did that when books don't sell? I would have absolutely no problem with that because it's in my interest as well to have the books that sell be more prominent, and I don't want to see all the ones that don't sell. And the other thing with categorizing low content books as stationery would take care of another problem, which is the free ISBNs. You don't need ISBNs for stationery. I don't think you need an ISBN for a planner, or definitely not for a notebook. And even logbooks, I just don't think they're books, in that sense.
Right.
So I think if they went under stationery, it would eliminate the whole problem of ISBNs, whether they're free or not free, doesn't really matter. But it would just, I mean, I can't imagine how many ISBNs Amazon has given away on rubbish books that never sell.
Yeah. I mean, they would easily save millions of dollars, if not more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much an ISBN is for Amazon, probably not much, but
No, probably.
it all adds up,
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, like I said, with those bulk uploads that people were doing, and some still are.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, actually, I saw one the other day, and it was, the ones like just a girl that likes, and then all the hobbies. And it was published like 3 months ago. And I thought, are they still doing that?
And 5 different copies of it, or different colors. Yeah.
So,
Okay. So what is your next things you wish KDP would change?
There's another big thing that I often think about, and that is I wish KDP were a little bit more transparent in their answers, or a little bit more helpful with their answers, because I think that the kind of emails they send us, I mean, you need some kind of translator to really see what are they asking me, because it's not very clear sometimes. And especially, I know that there are a lot of people doing Amazon KDP who don't have English as their first language, and then it becomes even worse. I can't imagine how hard it must be for them. But so far, whenever I've had to deal with them, I've found it a lot easier to deal with them through their chat, sort of the chat bot or whatever they use. because then you can actually speak to a person and it's so much easier. But even so, they still have their scripts that they,
Right.
that they write, which sound very generic. And from other people's experiences, when you see people that post their whole emails on Facebook or whatever saying, this is an email I got from Amazon and I don't know what I've done wrong. And I'm reading that email and I think, well, actually, I don't know what you've done wrong.
Right. No.
I can't see what the problem is. And I wish, obviously, there is a problem. Obviously, something has been done
Right.
that went against their terms. But why not say that? Why not say, this is what you've done wrong? Why come up with, you went against the terms? Well, which one, which
Right.
term in particular did they go against? I think that needs a major overhaul. I think
I
if
agree.
a company, if any other company ran their company like that and treated their customers, because in a way we're customers as well, that would be terrible. And I think obviously Amazon is such a big company, and I know KDP is smaller, but it's still part of the big
Right.
Amazon machine. So it's not ideal. I think they do need to do something to have a better relationship with the people that sell their items on Amazon. I mean,
Yeah.
this could be an Amazon-wide problem, not just
Right.
KDP. But I don't think I had that much of a bad experience when I was an actual Amazon seller.
Yeah.
I find KDP is much more secretive and cryptic and really doesn't make things very clear.
Yeah. I
Did you
think cryptic is,
experience that?
yeah, I think cryptic is probably the best term for it.
Yeah.
And I will say I've actually found, and part of it I think has to do with the actual representative that you're talking to. I've found that it's gotten worse over the years instead of getting better.
Ooh.
Because I remember early on, when I got my account terminated. I've shared that on other videos before, other episodes, back in the day, that I asked them what, because of course they're always going to start off with their blanket auto generated response, and then our job as the authors, creators, is to ask questions. Can you give me an example? And I did, and they actually sent me screenshots, things circled, like really, it took them time to put this
Yeah.
together. And it was just one example, and they're like, here's one example of what you did. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Most of us are, at one way or shape or form, are visual learners. And so
Yeah.
if you show me, don't tell me, if you show me what I did wrong, that's going to trigger, not only first of all, I can't argue it if I'm looking at it. So, the arguing back and forth goes away right then and there, but also you explaining something. And I understand that a lot of those representatives are not necessarily English speakers, as their first language either. And so it removes a lot of that barrier, the language barrier, if you use images,
Yeah.
and so that's something that happened early on that I don't see happening anymore. And again, it could have just been, a few representatives did that, maybe one representative did that, and then they trained a couple and they did it, and then those people are no longer there. I don't know, but I definitely agree that it needs to be more clear. You can't just say, as detailed as the Amazon guidelines are in terms of service, you can't just say that you've gone against the community guidelines and not give me any explanation as to how, where,
Yeah.
because I can't fix what I don't know. And and as much as the guidelines change from time to time, I think they make at least some kind of tweak at least once a year, that I can't, and I do go back and, whenever I get an alert that it's changed, I go and I read that. That doesn't mean I'm gonna remember a change that happened 3 years ago. I mean, I just do, and part of it comes with just doing what you do regularly. If you're
Yes.
someone who only one is just jumping in to this, then you don't know. Or if you're someone who just publishes sporadically, then yeah, and you're always trying something new, then there's a much bigger chance that you're going to inadvertently break some of those guidelines. So
Yeah.
getting the initial blanket response, whether it's terminating your account, blocking it, or you can't publish this book because it goes against our terms of service. Great. Then what part of the terms of service am I breaking to make sure that
Yeah.
I don't do it further, and to make sure that I, not only fix this one, but make sure I don't do another one that
Yeah.
way. But yeah, I absolutely agree that we need to get a better, again, less cryptic responses from Amazon. And if the representative there doesn't know enough to know really what, because they might just be getting alert on their end
Mm.
from the system saying it breaks the terms of service, then that sounds like a whole system-wide change that needs to be
Yeah.
done. But either way, as the ones creating the products that your customers are going to buy or at least see, it benefits you as a company to
Mm.
give us as much information as possible, so we're all on the same
Absolutely.
page.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because at the end of the day, I know Amazon always says they're all about the customer, and that is how it should be. But how can they be all about the customer when they're not giving the people who are creating products for their customers all the information they need? They need to make sure that we understand and that we get all the information, because it's not clear even on their terms of service. It's not always clear, what
Right.
constitutes. I mean, the other thing is, I've seen plenty of cases where they've actually terminated people in error. So, I mean, I know
Yeah.
there are not that many cases. Most of the time, when people are getting terminated, it is because they've done something wrong.
Hmm.
But there have been the occasional ones where maybe a bot has picked up on something and terminated their account. I mean, I find it hard to believe that someone's account can be terminated just like that. I think there was probably some more emails or something that went beforehand. And I don't want people to panic, because I know what happens. Someone posts in Facebook that they've been terminated, then another person, and then all of a sudden, oh, they're terminating left, right, and center. No, they're not. They're just, that's just a few that we've heard about, and it can happen. It's rare, I would say, that it happens for no reason, but it
For no
can happen.
reason, right?
Yeah, and then if that is the case, then there needs to be a way that people can sort of argue their case, because I think Amazon says in their emails when they terminate an account, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think somewhere it says, if you think you've received this email in error, contact so and so.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
Right.
But I don't think that's really good enough. And also, I've heard people say that it takes a long time for them to get a reply. And, I think terminating someone's account is really serious, especially if they're keeping their royalties as well.
Right.
I don't know how that stands up in law, really. I know we sign to say we agree with it, so maybe that's how they cover themselves. But I don't think it's ethical. I don't think that they should terminate someone's account and not pay them outstanding royalties, unless it's something really terrible that they've done.
Right.
But how terrible can it be? I mean,
Hmm.
I just think there needs to be a lot more clarity, a lot more a two-way conversation. It seems to be very one-sided all the time.
Right.
So I don't know if it's a problem of not having enough staff, because that could be a problem.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's something, and the problem is with Amazon, there isn't even a really good way to talk to someone that would know about it. I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I don't even know who's in charge. Let's put it
Right.
that way. It's
No, I agree. I agree, because I think because it's Amazon and it's so big that there is that kind of the animosity, or that
anonymity.
anonymity with it,
Yeah,
that you can't, like if I want to talk to, the head honchos at Ingram Spark, I can, you can look up who the CEO of Ingram Spark is. You can do that
exactly.
with Lulu and everything.
Yeah.
You can't, that I know of, look up who the CEO of KDP is. I don't think there
Yeah.
is one,
No.
because again, it's just a department within a bigger company.
I know when we had the London Book Fair last year, or was it this year even? I don't know. But I really wanted to go only because they had a KDP stand. And I thought, wow, that is the one chance we're probably going to get to speak to someone from
Right.
KDP. And I didn't get to go because of all the house move and everything, but
Right.
I'm going to try and go next year because I think it would be good to speak to someone, Amazon is such a big company. You don't even know who the people behind the companies are.
Right.
I like companies where their managers, their CEOs are known people. They are
They're visible.
visible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Amazon's it could be run by robots as far as we know, because we wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe it's all AI.
So, okay, so here's my next one, and this one is a bit more of a dream, but it's still something I wish that KDP would do.
Aren't
And
they
it's kind of
all?
twofold. Well, okay, I'll do the first one. I wish that they would follow what Lulu.com does and introduce Saddle Stitch. For those people who don't know, Saddle Stitch is,
Yeah.
if you think of like a pamphlet, like this, where the pages are stapled, it's a smaller book.
Mm.
Is the short answer. If you sometimes we're publishing books, and right now, if you publish a book that's less than 24 pages, it's only available on KDP as an ebook. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. Obviously, you can do an audiobook, but as far as a physical book on KDP, all you can do is do it as an ebook. So, but other places, like I said, like Lulu, they have Saddle Stitch. So you can have a book that's 6 pages. And some people want a physical copy of their book. And some people want, as a customer, want to buy a physical copy. They don't want an ebook. They want a physical copy that they can go back to, whether, regardless of that they have their phone on hand or whatever. I can go back and look at that, whether it's, a how-to manual or whatever. Having a Saddle Stitch is an option. And one thing I always tell people when they're publishing books and they're like, should I do an ebook version? Should I do this type of version? My answer, just a blanket answer, is yes.
Mm.
Because your customers consume information in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And again, if you are publishing a smaller book, the way KDP is set up, because they don't have Saddle Stitch, you're eliminating that option of having a physical copy.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And that reminds me of another point that I thought, not only Saddle Stitch, but ring-bound books. Lulu, I think, are the only.
That was my
Was that your
was my
second
next one? That was my second one.
I got there
But
first.
you did well, because the issue with that is, either yes, KDP
Yeah.
having a spiral bound would be great, but from a bigger standpoint, this isn't KDP specific.
No.
I wish Amazon would just allow me to publish my Lulu published coil bound over to Amazon.
Yeah.
If I publish, it's one thing if they just didn't want to work with Lulu for whatever reason. But if I create a hardcover or I create a paperback, a perfect bound on Lulu, I can sell that on Amazon.
Yeah.
But spiral bound, I can't.
Yeah.
The only way I can do that is by doing going around, and having to create a seller's account and basically do like FBA,
Yeah.
but with my own book that it's just, again, it's a workaround that, and you have to pay for a seller's account,
Yeah.
and it's just more money on my part that I have to pay out.
Mhm.
And you've already got the integration with Lulu.
Yeah.
And so my only thought is maybe if Lulu, they're the ones that you created on, but Amazon's really the one creating the book. They're the one,
Yes.
the print on demand. They're the one actually printing it. Maybe they don't have the technology to do foil bound. And so that's why they can't do that. But so getting to what you were saying, if they could do coil bound, that would be amazing.
It would be great. I mean, I can understand why they don't do it, because that's not how Amazon KDP started. I think
Agreed.
Amazon KDP started as pulp fiction sort of
Right.
sellers of novels and
Right.
whatever else. And they tend to be, and this is, I think, where the cream paper comes in as well. They were those
Yes.
big fat books. Would you believe I haven't got an example here at the moment that I can look at on my library? But you know the ones I mean, the big fat books like Gone with the Wind or whatever in
Yeah.
big. that those are the kind of books that Amazon was producing, and they were producing them on a big scale,
Right.
and that's how it all started. And we weren't supposed to create low content books, for example, especially like when we're thinking of ring bound planners or ring bound whatever books.
Puzzle
That
books.
wasn't
Yeah.
what Amazon KDP was for. And I think that's why they just haven't, maybe they just haven't thought about it. Maybe they don't think the market is big enough yet when they've got such a big machine that they're running. I don't know. Maybe that's just a small part of it that they don't even consider. I don't know. But it would be
Yeah.
great for us more than
Yeah.
anybody.
It would. It absolutely would. And it's obviously there, you would need a completely different machine. I mean,
Yeah.
I get all that, and
Yeah.
logistically, and especially when you think of the size of Amazon and the size of KDP, then yeah, it very well could just be it either they didn't think of it, or they did think of it, and it's just not something that is on their roadmap
They don't
now.
need
But
to.
who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
in the future, I mean, they're already, they're always coming out with new things and testing
Yeah.
out new things. I mean, a few years ago, I would, they didn't even have hardcovers, and now they
Yeah.
do. So, these things are definitely not cast in stone that it's never going to happen. But that's
Yeah.
definitely something I wish KDP would change.
Yeah. That same here. I think that would be a really good addition to the type of books that we could create. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But, like I said, they're such a big company. Maybe that's not even on their radar. If you're earning millions, would you want to earn a few pennies more by creating this whole other thing? It's
Right.
maybe not worth it for them. I don't know.
Right. For how much they'd have to pay for, like I said,
Yeah.
it would be completely new equipment that they, for coil binding it, punching the holes. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be a completely different machine. And when you think of the volume that they print at, it would have to be fairly expensive machine. So I can imagine
Yeah.
that that it would be pretty expensive, but it definitely would something that'd be nice to have.
It would be amazing. Yes. Can you think of anything else that you would like them to change?
Okay, so I'm gonna go. This is one that I think everybody would like. I would like more than 60%, please.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, there other platforms are giving 70%, and some even more than that. So I get part of it is, yeah, but it's kind of their way of us paying them to be on Amazon, maybe.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, with how much they produce as far as books, I can't imagine it would cost them that much more to give an extra 10%, even 65%, like gradually go up. And I can't imagine it ever happening, at least anytime soon. But
No.
again, we're saying changes I wish KDP would make. Yeah, I wish they
Why
would.
not?
I wish they'd give us a little bit more money, right?
Why not? Yes, definitely. I mean, I can obviously agree with that, but I also see the other side of it, that it's free for us to publish on Amazon, and I'm still so excited about that fact that anybody can
absolutely.
actually, that I kind of think, okay, 60% is pretty good actually. But, it would always be nice to have more. The changes that I've mentioned so far are all changes that they should really make, maybe apart
Right.
from the last one, but all of these are things that would benefit them as well. But there are also
Agreed.
changes that would be nice for us if they could,
Right.
if they could do that. And one of them, to me, is sometimes their delivery system isn't great. Like, I've had books delivered that were squashed through the letterbox,
Yep.
and they're all, falling apart. They're not packaged in a way that they don't get damaged easily. And also the paper quality is sometimes not that great. So they're all things that I think could improve as well.
Yeah.
And I've heard of people with really horrible stories of creating children's books, and they've printed another book as well as the children's book. So half of it is the book that they've created, and part of the pages are something completely non-related, and some of it was actually not something that you would want children to see.
Yeah.
So that is something that really, I mean, I know that's that's really the printer's fault rather than Amazon. But that's something that they should keep an eye on quality control a bit better, because I think it's lacking. Do you find, have you heard stories like that as well?
I have. I mean, not to the point where, there was things that were not children's friendly, but I will say I had in one of my children's books, I didn't get somebody else's book mixed in it, but the pages were out of order. And it's not the way it was uploaded, because I've got my, and I actually said, I'm like, I've got my proof copy that I ordered and approved, and it's fine. But the copy that and luckily it was one that I had purchased. I had purchased as a gift. And so I don't know how many of my customers ended up getting that. But and again, and that's one of the issues, and this is more Amazon than KDP specifically, but there's no way that that if someone's going to buy my product, they're going to buy my book, and they have a bad experience. And this happens all the time when you see low star reviews. How many times are those reviews because of something completely out of your control?
Absolutely.
Like you were saying about the shipping. Amazon KDP is one of the few, if not the only one that I know, that still does not send their books in corrugated cardboard. They just send it basically in an envelope. And even, okay, so even that, even if it's about logistics and it's about money, then why not have it posted on there, do not bend?
Absolutely.
Something as simple as that. Something that you and I would do if we were shipping this out and we couldn't put it in cardboard and we had to ship in an envelope, we would write do not bend. I would much rather have that on the package than, and I know I've complained about this so many times, but then that giant strip on my proof that says do not for sale. I don't care about that. I care about my book going to my customers, not bent. Now, they could still get bent, and that's on your carrier's side, if they bent it anyway. But at least from Amazon's standpoint, taking one little step, and it's just a stamp basically that would go on those that say do not bend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just something as simple.
Yeah, and also Amazon, I don't know whether they still do that, but when I was selling on Amazon as a seller on Seller Central, there were guidelines you had to follow on your packaging. You had to package your, not so much for FBA sellers, because I think they get theirs packaged from, Amazon does it for them.
Amazon, yeah.
But I fulfilled my own orders, so I had to
FMA,
yeah,
FBM, yeah.
I don't know what it wasn't called anything in those days. It was just Amazon Marketplace. So
now it's called FBM, fulfilled by manufacturer.
Okay.
Or merchant, whatever.
Yeah, so we had to be really careful how we packaged things. And if you got reviews that said your packaging wasn't great, and the same on eBay, on any other selling platform, you get penalized for not packaging your products properly. Yet Amazon can get away with it. They can just say, and what is that all about? When I ordered some pens the other day, like 3 pens in a little, I got a box about a meter long. And it was very light. But
it's not Amazon, it's just KDP. It's just the KDP part of it. Because I was just going to say the same thing. I get a lot of Amazon packages because of other things I do with Amazon, and very seldom do I get something in a bag or an envelope, unless it's like clothing. But anything else, like you said, a pen, whatever, is going to be in a box,
in a big
and usually
box.
about 3 times the size it needs to be. And the number of times I open up a box and I look inside, I'm like, hey, I got a box inside a box. But for some reason, when it comes to something fragile, if you will, like, as fragile as a book, that can be easily bent and, and in some cases destroyed. Because I've had some that literally looks like, they played some kind of sport with it because they've been kicked across the street. But and then those they put in envelopes. And like I said, just something as simple as, if you don't want to go the whole corrugated cardboard, which, like I said, everybody else who is a smaller company is doing corrugated.
Mm.
Lulu does it, Ingram Spark does it, Barnes and Noble does it. So, maybe, oh, well, Amazon, we're so big, we're so vast, we can't afford it because of the sheer volume they do. Again, just a simple stamp that says do not
Yeah.
bend, or something
Yeah.
along those lines can
Yeah.
really make a difference.
Absolutely. And I'm sure they can afford it. They just have to
Yeah.
think of
Oh,
it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
You know,
And like I said, it's frustrating as the owner. I mean, as the creator, and I'm sure we've all had this issue where you
Yeah.
get a 1 or 2 star review,
Yeah.
and you look at, and there's pictures and everything else, and you're like, I've got no control over that.
That's it. That's exactly it. We can't do anything about it yet. The review, if it's a bad review, it stops our book from selling, when really it's a review on Amazon's delivery system. It's not
Right.
it's not about us. Definitely something that I would love them to change. That's
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, and you brought up a really good point. Like the first few ones we came up with were things that, and even at the end when we were talking about the do not bend, those are things that are going to help Amazon too. It's not just,
yeah.
me saying I want.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that was literally more creator central was the higher royalties.
Yeah.
Everything else, I think would benefit Amazon as well.
Well, they keep saying they're all about the customers. That those are the things that would benefit the customers more, because it makes it clearer for them. The packaging thing. I've bought books that I wanted to give as gifts. I can't give them as gifts if they turn up all
Right.
scratched and bent, and so that for me wasn't a very good customer experience. That's it's Amazon's fault, not
Right.
the authors. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
I almost wish, and again, this isn't KDP, this is Amazon, but I wish there was a way for the end customer, and it could just be an extra box.
yeah,
When they go to do a review, click product or delivery
yeah,
issue. Um, and that way it can be filtered by that on the back end, and anything that said it was a delivery issue
mm,
wouldn't show up in my reviews, or at
yeah.
least at least they could review it more on their back end, and have somebody manually look at it maybe.
Or don't accept reviews with delivery comments. I think, in my opinion, reviews are to tell people what
About
the
the product.
product is about.
Exactly.
How they received it is really not neither here nor there, because it could be it could be all sorts of reasons, that
Right. I mean, again, it might not even be an Amazon issue. It could be
exactly.
it could be your
Yeah,
postal service issue or whatever. But again,
exactly.
it's not the product. And like
Mm,
you said, they're all focused on the customer. Well,
yeah,
there may be a great thing that is, Amazon's big on relevancy, the algorithm is. And so it could be more relevant to this search term, but because the reviews are low, but maybe the reviews are low because of things that don't speak to the quality of the book itself, the
yeah,
content of the book, you
yeah,
know? And so I really wish, when you order something on Amazon, they just ask you to rate the product.
yeah.
And
That's the
and
best way.
and they really need to have something in there where they again, it could just be something as simple, because again, I'm, as a programmer, trying to make it as easy as possible, because we are talking, as massive as Amazon is, just a box that says delivery issue, or or product issue, not content, or however they want to word it, but basically showing that this isn't because of this isn't the content of the book, it's how it was received, maybe
Yeah,
even a received issue, or however you want to word it, but something that the customer is going to go in there and they're going to leave a review. I leave a 1 star, and it's because it was all bent, and or maybe and I've seen these before where they'll show pictures of the glue coming undone from the perfect bound
yeah,
book. Again, that has nothing to do with the story I wrote.
mm,
That has nothing to do with
absolutely.
the puzzle book I created, or whatever it is. And so, but Amazon's not getting dinged for it. My product is.
Yeah,
And again, if they're so invested in the customer experience, then some simple way to designate this, because you've already got them there. You got them there to leave a review. Let's make sure that the review is as accurate as possible.
Yeah.
And again, just a simple box could,
yeah.
Could be done there where it's not much more work for the customer.
But I can imagine also that when people write reviews, if you had a bad experience, you're more likely to write a review because you feel angry and you
Right.
think,
Absolutely.
this isn't how it was supposed to be. I'm going to write a review.
Right.
That's what normally happens. So I think, it would be interesting to know the percentage of bad reviews due to the delivery system as opposed to what the product is, because I think Amazon need to sort that out. I see an Amazon van going down the road every 5 minutes, so there is so much going
Right.
on with Amazon, so many deliveries. I can understand that things go wrong when there's such a mass of orders being ordered every day and delivered every day, and sometimes I've had things delivered late, and the driver would say, "I'm really sorry, I was stuck in traffic," whatever.
Right.
Those are all things that would happen, and I'm so used to getting things the next day now that I
Right.
think anything longer than that is bad. So
Yeah.
that's kind of, Amazon has spoiled it for any other company because they're so quick.
Yeah.
So I think, there's definitely a problem with this, with the delivery system, the quality control of the printers. And I don't know if Amazon are on top of that, because I do see a lot of reviews about squashed books or bent books, or things that arrive in bad condition. So I wonder whether there is a problem and it's not just the occasional problem. It would be good to know the percentages, and only Amazon really knows. So
Right.
they need to
One thing I
address
do
that.
like that Amazon has started, that I've noticed Amazon starting to do, which could help future problem is this only shows up when you're leaving a review, is it's an AI generated synopsis of what other people
Yes.
are saying about it.
Yeah.
I wish they would show that to the actual consumer that might buy it, because if they can see, there may be 4 stars, and they see other customers who have bought this are saying something along those lines, and not have it buried, have it someplace visible. They can see that the complaints that are getting there are because of delivery and things like that, and not an issue with the book,
I've actually, I keep, because I buy so much from Amazon,
Mhm.
I
Me
see
too.
those, and I always read the reviews before I buy anything, and
Right.
I've seen that synopsis, this AI snippet that they put at
Right.
I've noticed it only comes up when there's a few reviews. I think if there's 1 or 2, it doesn't really
Right.
generate
Right.
anything.
Because it doesn't have enough data. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's really funny sometimes, because sometimes the reviewer says something that is, they've maybe placed their review under the wrong product, or something. But I've seen it several times now where the synopsis says the customers liked the ease of use of the product and they liked the quality. However, they said that the jumper didn't fit their poodle or something like that. And I
Right.
thought, what? And it
Yeah,
was
and there's a
and when
book.
I read it, it was for a completely different product. And it was
Yeah.
obviously the AI just wrote a summary
Right.
of all the
Yeah, it just picks things, and
yeah.
that's one thing that, getting back to the whole allowing the customer to click a box if the issue is related to, a product issue, or not a product issue, but the actual delivery system
delivery.
issue.
Yeah.
There a lot of times, someone might give even if they give a low review, a 2 review. I've seen this on books for other people. I don't recall if it was one of mine, but other than that, the book itself was great. Blah blah blah. Then why are you giving it a 2? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's
yeah, the
it's like
reviews.
you're talking about your frustration with the product,
Yeah.
or one of the things I've seen most commonly is I would rate the book a 5, but
Yeah.
it came and the pages were falling apart or
Yeah.
whatever. So the
Yeah.
quality, I had to give a 1, so I'm giving a 3 as an average, things like that.
Yeah, I agree. Reviews are a funny thing anyway, because sometimes, I mean, I've had a 1-star review on a book, and she was so happy with the book. Well, why give me 1 star then, you know?
Yeah.
But some people just don't know how they think I'll give it a star. That's great. Then, you know, it happens a lot on Etsy as well, where you get 1 star and the review is amazing. It's brilliant. They're really happy. I wonder sometimes if people just don't know that you have to give the full 5 stars.
Right.
I don't know. Reviews are
I
one
will
of
tell
those
you,
things. Yeah, I don't give it much.
yeah.
I don't take much notice now.
I will tell you another thing that I wish Katie, and it has to do with ratings, I wish KDP would do is I wish they would get rid of the being able to rate something. I don't want to
Yeah.
just give it a star.
Yeah.
There needs to be context, because just like if you give me a 1 star and you don't give any context, it does nothing for me but bring down my book.
That's true.
Conversely, you give me a 5 star. That's great, but still give me context. What did you like about it?
Yeah.
You know, so I know what I'm doing right, what I can continue to do in the future.
Absolutely. No, I definitely. There's a lot that could be improved. A lot of changes that they can
And
make.
and again, and we've talked about this in a previous episode. I mean, this isn't a slam on KDP. I absolutely love working with KDP. Like you said, we're on Amazon, for goodness sake, you know, and it's absolutely free to do it. You know, again, it's not something that I hate KDP or I wouldn't publish on it. But these are things that would make KDP better.
Even
These are things
better.
that would make things, the relationship between the creator and KDP better. So that's the whole point of this, is not necessarily a slam fest. We have done an episode where we talked about what we hate about KDP.
Yeah.
And then we did one where we talked about what we love about KDP. These are the things that we wish KDP would change.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I am so grateful I ever found KDP and that I can publish books myself. I'm still amazed by all of that, but there's definitely room for improvement, and for Amazon themselves as well, not just for us. So yeah.
Agreed. Well, in a future episode, we plan on doing an Ask Us Anything. So if you have any questions for us, email us at info@mmspodcast.com. Also, the email is in the description of the episode. This has been another great mastermind area. Once again, a huge thank you to all our listeners and viewers who came to tag along. If you enjoyed this mastermind, please consider following or subscribing to the podcast, and maybe even leave us a review and let us know what you thought. Until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler.
And I'm Nuria Corby.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining the Mastermind today. Be sure to follow the podcast on your platform of choice and tell a friend who would enjoy it too. Your support is greatly appreciated. This has been the Masterminding Success Podcast.